So now it is my great pleasure to welcome Jay Livingston, our 2023 guest speaker. As I told you, Jay is the Chief Marketing Officer of Shake Shack, a fast casual restaurant chain that started in New York City's Madison Square Park. Jay leads marketing, menu innovation, product development, and digital channels like the Shake app, website, and delivery. Shake Shack now has locations in 21 countries and is opening a new restaurant somewhere in the world every 4 days. So we don't know how we got him here, but we did. A native of Knoxville, Tennessee, Jay is a proud class of 1999 graduate from Miami University with a bachelor's degree in communications and a minor in political science. While at Miami, he was co-chair of the Miami University Concert Board and a member of the Miami University Student Foundation, and also a member of the social fraternity Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Jay discovered his passion for marketing by supplementing his communications major with classes in psychology, sociology, and business. After Miami, Jay worked at Bank of America for almost 20 years, overseeing many different marketing and strategic functions at the company. He then took some time off to do some angel investing, executive produced several films, and then helped launch a political effort called Unite America. After that, Jay became the CMO of BarkBox, a growth company in the pet space, before moving to Shake Shack, where he has been in his role for the last 4.5 years. Storytelling is the connective tissue in everything I enjoy doing, Jay says. As Maya Rudolph said, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It is now my great honor to introduce Jay Livingston as our guest speaker. Please join me in welcoming him to the podium.
Thank you so much to Dr. Makaroff and Miami University for having me. Bunzi is a tough act to follow. Very good. I got a little misty as you were talking about some of those things. And greetings, what I hear is a legendary class of 2023. Super excited to be here and talk to you all today. You all have had quite a ride. I love being back in Oxford, one of my favorite places in the world, and I know you guys are going to love coming back at some point too. What I really wanted to start it today with is, it is Mother's Day weekend. So what I'd love us to do is all stand up for 1 minute and wave at your mothers if they're in there. If you're next to a mother up there, how about standing up and like hugging a mother? Can we do that? I'm going to hug a mother right now. I got Karen. Don't get arrested now, but let's appreciate them for what they're the reason we're all here. And the first piece of wisdom I can ever remember getting in my life was from my lovely mother over here. She said, "Nobody will ever love you like your mother, so be sure and cherish that." All right, so the last time I was standing in this exact spot, I was introducing Barry Manilow to 9,000 people for Parents' Weekend my senior year. As Dr. Makaroff mentioned, I was chair of Miami University's concert board. And while I was here, we booked a lot of shows like the Indigo Girls and Toad the Wet Sprocket, The Samples, A Tribe Called Quest, and a bunch of other bands your parents will remember. We had 4 Parents' Day weekend shows during my 4 years. Bill Cosby, freshman year. I didn't sign that one. James Taylor, right? Maybe still to this day the best business deal of my career. We signed Jay Leno for $10,000 10 days before he signed the deal with The Tonight Show. So he came in and killed it. That was awesome. And then my senior year, we had Barry Manilow. So I asked a bunch of people, would the students know who Barry Manilow is? And I basically got a little bit of, maybe. Barry is sort of a throwback act at that point. I'd say he was the Michael Bublé, or maybe even the John Legend of his generation. So as co-chair of Concert Board, it was customary for me to greet the artists when they arrived backstage. Barry walked in wearing a huge trench coat and round, mirrored-out sunglasses. I walked up to him, and I stuck out my hand, and I said, "Mr. Manilow, welcome to Oxford." And he looked down at my hand, looked back up, and did not move. After an uncomfortable few seconds, his manager leaned in and said, "Barry doesn't shake hands." The line, "Barry doesn't shake hands," quickly became synonymous with any form of rejection among my friends. Hey, I finally asked that girl out that I met the other night. "Oh yeah? What'd she say?" "Barry doesn't shake hands." So here I am standing on stage at Millette again. I have to be honest, I don't remember a thing about my commencement ceremony. I'm actually not even sure I went. So how is it that I get the honor of being up here almost 30 years later? I'll tell you a big part of that reason, because like you, I'm an arts and science major. And I'd like you to consider what I regard as the most important part of the arts and science degree. It's the and, or if we have any English professors up here, the ampersand. The and is really your secret weapon. It's the balance of creativity and data. It's seeing the big picture while also having the skill sets to get things done. Many of you have been reading and maybe worrying a little bit about artificial intelligence and new tools such as ChatGPT, and you should be paying attention. I actually almost used it to rewrite this speech last night. But then I remembered ChatGPT has never washed down a Cool Jules with a green beer. It's never made out under the Upham Arch, or tried not to make out under the Upham Arch. It's never crammed for a final at King Library and then rubbed at a turtle head for good luck afterwards. It's never going to have what we have. The key to successfully navigating a world with AI are the perspectives you've nurtured as a liberal arts major: humanity, context, and nuance. These high-level capacities, along with core skills like critical thinking and adaptability, are going to be a huge advantage for you. No offense to our friends in the business school, but you think the machines can't learn to do accounting? That's right. Bring it, bring it. You spent all this time studying humanities for a reason. I think it's unlikely that AI is going to take your job, but someone who knows how to use AI might. Your opportunity is to take all this great perspective you've gained and find ways to make AI work for you and not you work for it. The last 4 years have been a great start. So I want to share a quick story that was transformative for me as I was going through a period that some of you may be going through now. The summer between my junior and senior years, I was really struggling to figure out what I wanted to do when I graduated. I was feeling immense pressure about it. I was around a lot of people, both my age and older, who didn't seem to have this issue. They just seemed like they knew what they wanted to do. My father suggested I sit down and talk with a family friend who had had a long and successful career in business and entrepreneurship. He asked me a lot of questions. I spoke to him about my various passions and interests. And then he gave me a piece of advice that really changed my life. He said, "People are going to keep asking you what you want to do for a living. Ignore those people. You're never going to have a set career path. For you, it's always going to be a career meadow. You're going to have to explore, follow your curiosity, looking for the intersection of what you enjoy and what you're good at." This idea of my career being a meadow really helped me reframe my thinking. And it took a huge amount of pressure off my shoulders. Many of you are going to have the same wandering journey, and I want to talk about a few things that might help along the way. I often get asked about the randomness of my career. How did you go from being a comms major to banking, and then to dogs, and then to burgers? By the way, I wanted to open this whole session up and say, everybody reach under your chair, and there's a Shack burger under there. It was going to be awesome. And then, you know, we cook everything to order. We can't really do that, and we don't have one close enough, so sorry. Next time, if I get invited back for a commencement down the road. You can definitely see this meadow theme to my career, but some of the there were some really key directional moments along the way. By my senior year at Miami, I started to realize I had both some talent and interest in getting groups of people to do things, sometimes even before they knew they wanted to do it. This felt like sales and marketing to me, but then I did something that served me really well in my early years out of school. I looked for opportunities to build skills that were very different from the ones I was already good at. The banks were hiring for general management programs, and I thought that learning finance and technology would be a nice way to balance out my people skills. So I took a role at what became Bank of America, and it turned out a huge bank was really a great way to get all kinds of varied experiences. I rotated through a variety of roles before I got an opportunity in marketing, and that's when I pounced. And then I had a series of marketing and strategy jobs across almost every functional area of the company over my 20-year career there. But I was always doing something else that served me really well over the years, and that was working on various side hustles. Once I moved to New York, one side hustle became angel investing in small startups around the city. I really enjoyed being close to these growth companies and these smart young founders that were leading them. So when I started to get a little burned out with my day job after a good long run, I decided to take some time off and do a little bit more wandering in the meadow. I traveled, I restored an old muscle car, I executive produced a few films. The Miami Wi-Fi hates me, by the way, sorry about this. And I even helped start a political organization now called Unite America. When I was ready to go back and be a CMO, the angel investing I had done gave me credibility in the startup world. I got an opportunity with a company called BarkBox, a now public company that makes subscription boxes for dogs. Pro tip, people love their dogs. And that led me to an eventual opportunity at Shake Shack, where I spend my time working on new menu items like white truffle burgers and triple chocolate brownie shakes. But it was the contrarian, did I hear a groan out there? Or was that hunger? Or was that, I hope so. But the contrarian career choices and side hustles that created the broader opportunities, those side hustles really are what led and created the broader opportunities later in my career. So knowing you're going to be your life is going to be a meadow brings its own kind of challenge. You're looking at the flowers, you're looking at the bees, you're wandering this meadow, or those otters playing in the river. But there's a few huge keys to making good decisions while you're wandering the meadow, and that is cultivating self-awareness, getting to know yourself, because you're going to have all these things pulling at you. There's going to be tradition on one side, move back to your hometown, marry your college girlfriend or boyfriend, be a doctor, lawyer, banker, whatever your parents think you should do. And then there's the contrasting pull of the unconventional. Move to LA or New York or Paris, start your own business, find a new boyfriend or girlfriend, find both at the same time. Wander that meadow, baby. These decisions can all be right, but they have to be right for you. Getting to know yourself, what truly gets you excited, and then connecting that with what you're good at. That's where the magic is. If I could put one statement on a billboard, it would say, there's no one way to do it. The way to do it is the way that works for you. So how do you cultivate more self-awareness to help you make good decisions? Well, you've been doing it the last 4 years, but you've got more work to do. Start by being curious. You have to travel whenever you can. Explore, read, talk, learn from all different kinds of people. I never turned down a conversation with someone interesting. I just had several up on the stage. As my dad said to me before I graduated, you don't have to do what you love, but you have to do something. It's good to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. That's how you learn. He's smiling right now. I don't think he remembers saying that, but you did. So my biggest suggestion to create self-awareness is just to get in the game. I've always wanted to be a participant, not a spectator. When you're older, you're not going to say, I wish I'd spent more time on TikTok or playing the new Fortnite or watching the latest Housewives of Butler County. Being a participant, not a spectator, will pay huge dividends. So finally, when you sit down to write a speech like this, you come up with all these little nuggets of wisdom that you want to share. None of us have it completely figured out, but I'm going to leave you with 3 nugs. The first is something I call the life triangle. The second is about building resilience. And the third is a note on relationships. So this idea of a life triangle has really helped me over the years. On the 3 points of the triangle are the 3 critical components of life satisfaction. One is your work life, One is your personal life, and the third is how much money you make. It's the reality. At any stage of your post-college life, you're going to have a score for each of these. The ideal is to score high on all three, but that basically never happens, especially early. So I think about how I'm doing on each part of the triangle, and will I need more of what I'm willing to and what I need more of, and what I'm willing to sacrifice for a while. I may be willing to have a beat-down job if I'm making a bunch of money, or I may do something I love and sacrifice the other two. But ultimately, I want to get some balance on all three of those areas. It will always be fluctuating. Stop every once in a while and be intentional about where you stand on the life triangle. Number two, all of us, but especially you as college students, have had a rough last 3 years. So you're going to relate to what I'm about to say. The quality that's going to have the biggest impact on your life, in my opinion, is resilience. You're going to go through tough times. Everybody gets hit in the mouth. Like many cliches, this one is true. Life really isn't about what happens to you, it's about how you respond. People have this idea that you're just born with your level of resilience. It's not true. It's like confidence. You can fake it for a while, but ultimately you have to earn it. And the best way to earn it is by failing and getting back up and getting after it again, over and over. Don't be afraid of that failure. Rub some dirt on it and get back out there. That's how you build resilience. Third and lastly, I can tell you from personal experience, but also from an 80-year Harvard study, the most important thing you can do for a fulfilled and happy life is build and nurture great relationships. Pick your friends, and especially your partner, very carefully, and then invest in those relationships. You've got some amazing ones sitting right next to you right now. Don't let those go when you leave. It can be easy to do. Trust me, you'll come back to them. I have a few sitting in the audience right now. And also, both experience and the study say, watch the alcohol. But maybe you can cheat a little bit on that tonight. So to kind of close this out, I'd love to bring in a little Barry back to Millett Hall to help me out. You should know how crazy jealous I am of you right now. You're leaving this amazing place armed with an incredible education, a great social perspective, and a tremendous support system. Miami is always going to be here for you and be part of who you are. This was supposed to be serious, but it's feeling kind of funny. But like Barry, life isn't always going to shake your hand. Learn who you are, remember where you come from. It doesn't matter if it's a meadow or a path, you're going to love the show. Thank you so much for having me. Love and honor.
All right. Kind of hard to follow that. Thank you, Jay. You're a wonderful, but this is true. You're a wonderful example of what can be done and accomplished with a Miami arts and science education as your foundation, right? So don't let anyone tell you otherwise.